Another expected value problem, let's go. So, we're first going to write out the possible outcomes. Alright, so in this scenario, we're talking about Sonia and the grades that she could get in her math and her physics classes. So either she'll get an A and her dad will pay her $5 in each of those classes, or she won't and her dad won't pay her. So the outcomes are, she could get an A in both. Another outcome is that she could get an A in just physics and not an A in math. Or vice versa. And finally, she could get an A in neither. So those are our 4 possible outcomes. Now, if you wanted to combine these two, because in those 2 cases she gets $5, that would be fine if you wanted to make those one outcome. But I made them 2 and we'll go with it. Alright, so now for each of the outcomes, we have to assign a number to it. That's the random variable part. So before we do that, let's actually define a random variable. So let's maybe let M be the amount of money her dad will pay her. So alright, so now we can actually write M over here and fill it in with these values. So if she gets an A in both, she'll get $10. If she gets an A in physics only or in math only, she'll get 5. And if she gets an A in neither, she'll get 0. Alright, the next thing we need to do is figure out the probabilities. Okay, so let's figure out these probabilities by making a Venn diagram. So we have 2 sets. The set M is the event that she gets an A in math, and the set P is the event that she gets an A in physics. And let's fill in what we know. So we can't fill in anything directly because we don't know what number goes in the middle here. So we can put an X here. This is going to be 0.5 minus X. This is also 0.5 minus X. But we do know there's 90% chance of her getting at least one A. So the probability that she gets no A's, that's out here, is going to be 0.1. Okay, so if we add this all together and set it equal to 1, we can write this equation. And then you can feel free to solve this, and we get that x is equal to 0.1. So if x is equal to 0.1, that means that we have a 0.1 there, a 0.4 there, and a 0.4 there. And those are all the probabilities we need now to keep filling in this PDF. So the probability that she gets an A in both is the probability of the intersection, which is 0.1. The probability that she gets an A in physics only, well, that's this area, so that's 0.4. The probability that she gets an A in math only, well, that's this area, that's also 0.4. And the probability that she gets an A in neither is the outside area, that's 0.1. Alright, so we've completed the PDF, but now we need to get the expected value. So we make one more column and then we multiply across. And then we'll add those together. So 10 times 0.1 is 1. 5 times 0.4 is 2. 5 times 0.4 is 2. And 0 times anything is 0. So we add these all up, and the expected amount of money her dad will pay her is $5.